again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming Wednesday. I do plan on working on some Bocage and some Hedges today. Uh, and yeah, so well, let's get into this, really, no, without any ado. This is Wargaming Wednesday. This is a live stream that I do every Wednesday from about 11 to 1, where I do model building, terrain making, discuss game systems. I talk about, you know, what I've got on my workbench, etc., etc. And so it's really just a conversation. If you want to chat with me, feel free to post a comment in the comments, and I'll get to them as soon as I can remember to glance up there and read them, because I'm going to be focusing on terrain building and not reading the chat. So, but if I see the chat, I will respond. Okay, so as you know, I am working towards. Okay, let me adjust this just a little bit. I got something I want to bring up on the screen, mainly for me. Would I put it here? I guess I would have. Let's open that. Let's put that on the main screen. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so each of these squares is 1 foot, and that's really only there to kind of give me a visual reference of like how big things need to be on the battlefield, right? It's a 4x6 table. This is the Lafayette Bridge battlefield. So if I was gonna make Bocage, right? Let's get another layer on here. Let's move that layer all the way to the top, and let's change the name of it to Bocage. Oh, I didn't even spell it right. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just mark, maybe with a straight edge. Yeah, I'm going to, black spine. Okay. Go with a pretty thick. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, this is just, okay, that's probably too big. What I want to do is just count out how many 6-inch pieces I'm going to need, right? So we'll call that 1, 2, 3, 4, 'I could probably do something like that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I'll call that 29, 30, I have a feeling that's 31 and 32, maybe 33, approximately. Okay. So I'm just going to put a text 33 6-inch Bocage. Okay. Much better. All right. So we'll save that. And boop. See, I can get rid of that at any point. I can add it in. I can blend it and whatever. Okay, so in the long run, I'm going to need about 33 of these things just for this map. Now, you can imagine playing a full-size D-Day battle or a Normandy, like inland, the hedgerow country. You would need a lot more than 33 of these, right? You'd need 70 of them or whatever, because this area would have bocage in it as well. Now, some of these areas is just going to be hedges and not even bocage. It's just going to be your standard hedge style stuff. Okay, got rid of that. I just needed to know 33 bocage. Got it. For this battle. If I make more, then that's even better. All right. I can close that. I don't need it. Save? Yeah, save. Okay. All right. That's one of my favorite flavors right there. Strawberry banana. Yummy. Okay. That can is a dry. Okay, now you might see this little setup right here. I had previously already cut some foam, and I had mounted it on my popsicle sticks. And these are dry. I did these last night. Yeah, these are dry. Okay, I'm starting to see a little warpage. I thought the foam would prevent the warping, but I don't know if you can see that. There is a little, I mean, it's very subtle. Yeah, it's very subtle. It's a like a bow like this, and that's okay in that when I set it on the table, you're not going to see under here anyway. You're only going to see the edge as it rests on the table, and so that's perfectly fine in my opinion. Okay, so I did these, and we'll be working with these today in my construction. But I did one of these this morning. Actually, I did about 20 this morning. I have the rest of them over on the other table laid out with some boards on top of them and then some paint cans on top to kind of give it a, to press it in nice and tight, and also to keep it from bowing up or bending or whatever. And then I made But this one, for some reason, was just a little bit too tall. I must have miscut it or whatever. It's too tall, and it was not the same height as the rest of them. So I brought it over here, and I put some of my Liquitex paint additive and stuff like that on top of it to give it a little bit of pressure. It's under pressure. Now, I could always go back and put glue on the bottom of this as well, and then it would force it would make it want to bow back flat, right? It would also seal it, but I'm not concerned with the bow. That where the Elmer's, the liquid in the Elmer's makes my popsicle stick want to bow up like that. That's perfectly fine. That one looks like we could work on that one as well today. Okay, if this one is dry, then that means those over there are dry, but that's okay. All right. Okay, so to show you how we get started and what we do, my mic is way behind me, so I apologize if you can't hear me, but give you a little inside baseball here, a little heads up. I'm going to be working on the Bocage, but I'm going to turn on my recording. I'm not, instead of just streaming, I'm also going to record, and then when I'm done making the Bocage, or at least when I get far enough into making the Bocage, I'll take that recorded video and I will edit it out, and I'll delete all the audio. So anything that we talk about today will not be in that video. And then what I'll have to do is dub over it, and it'll be a YouTube how to make Bocage. So you're getting a little bit of that inside information. And I'm sorry, I'm super thirsty. I don't know if my mouth is dry or what, but okay. Plus, we're going to be just putting together some simple hedges as well. Yeah, we're just going to be putting together some simple hedges as well. Okay, so I've got like 5 or 6 different flocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've got like 6 different flocks that I want to use on the Bocage. Let me go ahead and start the recording, and okay, so it should be recording as well. Okay, so I've got my 15 millimeter Germans right here. And these guys are, you know what? I don't have my video software up. Camera software, that is. Did it change anything? Didn't look like it. Might have. Okay, so these are some German Grenadiers that I worked on the last couple of days, and they are fini. I did a whole company of them. Okay, and so I'm basically going to use these as just a visual aid for me and the Bocage to kind of scale it. Okay. All right, so we got some 1/2 inch pink foam here, right? Okay. And I got my straight edge ruler, and you can see that the foam is not exactly 12 inches. It's probably an 1/8 inch shy of 12 inches, so it's 11 7/8. but that's fine. Now using these lines here, these are 10mm squares. I'm kind of using these to kind of give me an idea of where to cut. So okay, something's going on with my camera here. Okay, that should do it. Let me tighten that up. Okay. Now it shouldn't be moving around like it was. Okay, so because these are 15mm models, the bocage doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be 15mm tall. It could be any amount. Okay, I'm turning myself off because if I'm going to be dubbing over this, I don't want people to see me yabbering on the camera and then no volume and then just hear me talking. So we don't get a double talk like that. Okay, so what I'm doing is I line the top of the foam with the okay, let's start over. Let's start over, guys. Okay, so we're making bocage. Now that you don't have my face on the camera, we're making bocage for 15mm soldiers. I'm going to be making it for my Lafayette Bridge campaign, but it could be for any hedgerow battlefield. I'm going to use 1/2" pink foam for the stonework, and I line it up right there along one of these lines, and then I use my ruler here to measure, eyeballing it. Like, that's 10mm. I think 10mm is not really going to be enough for bocage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up to 15mm. It probably could, some of them could be taller than other ones, but I'm not too extremely worried. I just want to make sure that there's a stone foundation. All right, so now I'm going to cut like 3 times. Digging deeper with each cut. Okay, and that gets it cut. Okay. And then, because I'm going to be mounting these on, where's my popsicle sticks? Okay. Okay, these are the 3/4 inch, 6-inch popsicle sticks. What I'm going to do now is cut this in half, giving me about 6 inches approximately. Okay. Just using the millimeters. If this is 30mm, I'll go to the 15 spot. and we get 2 pieces. Right? So far so good? All right. Now, okay, so we put the wide part on the stick because that's 1/2 inch. Half inch should only be 12.7 millimeters, right? So this is pretty square, actually. Pretty close to being square. I see 15. I see pretty much 15. Okay, so. And we just take a strip of Elmer's. Now I move it around to get Elmer's all over the foam and the stick. Try to make the foam extend over the stick because it is just a little bit more than the popsicle stick. Not much. Okay. Now if I just let that sit like that, everything's going to bow or break, and I don't want that. I want it to be firm and flat. So once I get this centered and settled and pressed down so that the Elmer's kind of grips to it. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to put a weight on top of it. There we go. If I had multiple weights, I could place it all over it. It basically will just get me a good solid, like paint cans or whatever you've got, you know, glue, whatever weighs something, just to keep the foam from coming loose or the popsicle stick from bowing. Okay. Okay, now because I have already done these, now these were broken in half for a previous project, but let's just take this bad boy right here. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I plan to trim or shave the foam, right? I want to give it kind of a not a natural look. That's not the word I'm looking for. An angle, a slope. You know, I don't want it to be straight up and down. And I'm probably going to have 100 of these. Okay, static electricity, it's a real thing. Okay. Okay, and then when you do it on both sides, if you cut too much off, when you cut both sides, now you're gonna make your hill or berm or whatever you want to call it might become too steep or whatever. I'm planning on, I'll be trimming off the top anyway. And this part of the project doesn't have to be accurate or perfect in any way, really, because no two bocage are exactly the same, and they should be kind of rough and yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? They should be not uniform. They shouldn't be uniform. Some can be cut out more than others. Okay. Okay, look at that mess. Okay, I'm gonna have to, ooh, static electricity. Okay, wish I had an anti-static grass or anti-static discharge pad or something. Okay, so that actually works. There's a little bit of a flat roof on the top of that, but I do like the fact that I kind of cut a little bit out of this, but I also want to trim a little bit off the edges. I want to kind of not necessarily make it rounded, but less sharp. And then I might even take a good chunk out of that, like that. Let your imagination run wild. And I'm going to have to do 33 of these. It's going to take a minute. Okay, so there's one right there. Yeah, that looks good. And then we basically do it again. And you might be able to see it better on the black about how I'm cutting that out. Okay, okay, came out pretty good. There we go. There's a little bit too much right there. There we go. Just trim that off. All right, now that's too flat along the top, as you can see. Plus the corners right there, I want to, oh, also, if it overlaps the round part of the stick, you want to make sure you cut that piece off. That allows for the roundness to match with another hedge. So use the stick as a guide on how to round the edges. Okay, which I neglected to do on this one. Okay. That should work. All right. So now what will happen is, if these two are beside each other, that's fine, right? You got a little bit of a flexibility right there. But if I wanted to angle it, I could because of the rounded tips. Yeah, so that'll work. Okay. And then if you ever wanted to put like a tree, you know, down in around there, you could do that. That's another thing. I've got 4 different types of trees, and I'm going to be mounting those in these as well. And that's another reason why I wanted to do about 3 of them for the video. Oops. Yep, I just cut myself. Oh, okay. That should be no problem. I just basically poked my thumb. Okay, so there's going to be some blood on these Bocage. Now I'm using a really sharp blade so that there's not a lot of breakage or whatever you call it. Look at that blood. Okay, give me a second. That's actually got some goodness coming out of it. Okay, I'm going to hold that for a minute before I move on. Okay, so now that these are cut, what I plan to do, and this, as soon as I get this one cut, I plan to take these outside and prime them, just basically spray, just to kind of seal them in, and then I'm going to apply some dark earth on them. And then we'll flock them, and then I want to put hedges and trees on top of them. So just bear with me. Just give me a chance to take a sip. I guess this part will be edited out. I'm actually very pleased with these Plastic Soldier Company Grenadiers. They were fairly easy to paint. They have a lot of detail on them, a lot more than my Old Glory 15s that I had many years ago. So I'm excited to see what the plastic Battlefront figures look like. I've got some of them coming in, and I don't need any more Germans. I have all the Germans that I need, but I'm just excited to maybe increase my collection. Okay, I think the bleeding has stopped. All right, so let's go ahead and complete this. Now you might notice that I'm cutting into my popsicle stick as well. Well, that's just because I had a bad angle on my blade. Okay. I don't want to do that. It just happened. Okay. Okay, that's a very bad angle. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, so I cut this at such an angle that it basically gave me a straight top, and I definitely 100% do not want a pointed top of my bocage. I want it to be flat on the top. I mean, it only has to be 5-6 millimeters, but that's just enough for me to put a hedge or a bush on the top. Yeah. And now I'm rounding the ends to match the popsicle stick. All right, so now let's give this a flat top, and some can be deeper than others. When I say flat, I don't mean straight across. I mean, it can go up and down like this. I just want it to be horizontal to the ground. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And again, this one doesn't have to be, this one's actually shorter because of that. But that's fine, because you're still going to be behind a big berm, right? Still a fairly large berm. And then there's going to be bushes on top of it. Okay, so let's see if I can get this foam, which if I save this foam, you can make like rubble and other types of terrain with it, which I'm not going to do. Dirt piles and stuff. Or filler. Okay, so give me 2 seconds. I'm going to, well, not 2 seconds, but maybe 2 minutes. I'm going to take these out. I'm going to prime them. And then we'll start working on, we'll do some work on these hedges. And then when these are done, these should be dry and ready to go for the next step. And for those of you that are looking for a styrofoam safe paint, I'm using the Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch flat black, and it seems to be working pretty good on styrofoam. All right, while that dries, I'll edit this out of the video, but we're going to make some just simple straight hedges. And I do believe I'm going to use my thin sticks right here. Whoa, look at all that flock that fell off. Okay. Yeah, what am I going to do? Okay, now in this case, I'm going to use some clear grip. To help prevent the warping from just regular water-based Elmers. I'm thinking maybe I should prime these. Maybe I should prime them, and then when I put the hedge on there, this will stretch. Okay, I can stretch it. So when I put it on there, I might just put texture on first. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm going to prime and then texture before I put the hedges on. Yep. Okay, there's 8 of them here. That's what I needed. Let me go prime these. I'll do it. I'm going to move these guys away. Okay. Now, I don't know if you ever tried priming a popsicle this thick. When you spray it, it goes flying. But hey, all right. Yep. That black paint dries really quick, so it should be done real soon. All right. Hey. Temporarily. I'll show my face. All right, we're going to take a look at these. I haven't opened them or looked at them yet, but I'm interested to see what kind of texture we get involved. Well, first of all, it's the perfect width for a hedge. Okay. It's actually the same width as these guys. Yeah, pretty close to it. Okay, these are pretty stiff. That's good. They're 6 inches. That's good. I'm sure I could take a pair of scissors and cut it down. Yeah, those guys are 10 millimeters as well. I could probably use scissors. But I've decided to use a knife in this one case. Okay, I cut pretty easily. It's a nice looking hedge. It just needs to be a little greener, but I plan to flock that. Use a little bit of a Gorilla Glue action and let's see what we can. I'm curious to see if with the Gorilla Glue if it warps. Okay, I'm just cleaning my little nozzle off because I'm anal about that. hell's going on here? There we go. I probably should have primed that first. Just to give the, prime the wood first. Makes painting it later easier. Okay, we're going to set that hedge there just to see. Whoa, really? I must have squeezed it too much. There you go, it's going back in. And I think that's what I'm going to use for these hedges as well. I just wanted to check this material out. That looks good for a very dry hedge, you know. It's a good height as well. Now these hedges are going to work well with my Ancients and with my Napoleonics, my American War of Independence, all those 15 millimeters. Okay, the bocage should be done drying. I'm going to go bring them all in. I'll be right back. These are not dry, but they are very close to being dry. Okay. These are also not dry. I mean, you can see the wetness of on the board, but they're very close to be. Oh, I can see the wetness right there. Yeah, you can see they're not dry. They're very close to being dry. Okay, give me like 3 minutes. I'm going to go take care of some business, and I will be right back. All right, we're back. That was quick. Okay. Okay, I think I'm ready to get started on the next step. The next step for these guys is just applying some texture. Okay, excuse me. No comments? All right, no worries. All right, it's still recording, believe it or not, for my edited video. Okay, so the next step on the bocage is I'm going to apply some dark earth. I don't need to shake that. What am I doing? Look what happened when I shook it. Okay. And I'm basically just going to completely cover the bocage, get it down into all the little cracks to basically seal it up and disguise the look of it. Plus it gives it more of a natural look. Yep. Okay, I am noticing a difference. In a previous video, I stated that the muddy ground and the dark earth were exactly the same. Well, they don't look exactly the same when they're wet. We're going to have to wait till they dry to be able to tell you if that's true or not. See, I'm getting it down inside right where the popsicle stick and the foam join together. There's like this little seam. I'm trying to disguise the seam by putting this texture inside of it. One reason why I prime like a dark earth color like black or brown or even green would work, tan, is so that if you apply your texture and you leave a gap or a hole or miss a spot, it'll be okay because the primer will disguise that spot. Okay. Okay, I'm getting it all over my fingers. Oh my goodness. Speaking of fingers, if you've been following my live streams, remember that blister that I had? Well, look at it now. It broke on its own and it's starting to heal up. So, I don't know. It just, I thought I was going to have a big callus there or something, but I guess I'm not. Or I am, and I just don't know. We'll see. Okay, so let me go ahead and get all three of these textured. I'm also going to texture these for those hedges. And you'll notice I'm texturing before I put the hedge on top. I'm texturing before I flock, of course, and before I put any foliage on the top, before I put any trees in or anything, because I am going to put some trees on a few of these. I think I'm going to put a tree on every one of them. Some will have more trees than others. Okay, I think I'm getting low on my okay, it's spinning. It's killing me. There we go. Yeah, the Painter's Touch primer did not melt this foam. I'm super excited about that. I thought I was going to have to research and get all different kinds of paint. Now, I remember in the old days, I used to use the Tester's Model Master paints on my styrofoam, the sprays, and they would work just fine. There would be no, they would not melt them. But I would use others, like maybe Krylon or something, and it would just destroy the foam. So I didn't know what the reason why. It has something to do with the alcohol in the paint. Some companies put alcohol in their paint to help clear the nozzle. Like when you spray, it helps keep the nozzle clean. But what that alcohol does is it gets the acid in it, I guess, gets into the foam and just melts it. So there are paints out there that use water instead to clear the nozzle, and or they do use alcohol, but a very thin amount, or they're very like very light use of it or something like that. And the Rust-Oleum I see is like that. They use a very light amount. Bear with me if I'm not talking. It's because, whoops, damn, I left my picture on there. Damn it. Yeah, oh well. Luckily I'm on the last one and I can edit this in and I can do all my talking over this last one with the dark earth. All right, and you see how that looks all rough and rugged like that? Okay. Yikes. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to put a little bit on these. You know, nothing too drastic, just a super quick painting. Now I hadn't even thought about this, but I wonder if this texturing will cause a popsicle stick to warp. I mean, it's got water in it. And I don't know, does it, if it shrinks when it dries, that'll be the tell. I don't know if it shrinks when it dries. I'm starting to like this dark earth a lot more than the medium earth. The German troop right there, or you can't see it, that used the medium earth, but which is a really good color. I love it. And the reason why I'm not using dark earth is because I thought it dried pretty close to black. If it stays brown like this when it dries, then I think I'm going to be happy with it. All right, it's going to take me a minute just to do this. Yeah, I'm leaving my mugshot off. If you just joined us, I'm leaving my mugshot off of the camera because I'm going to edit some of the footage from this stream into a Bocage making tutorial, and I'm gonna dub over it, and I don't want people to see, I don't want people to see me talking to you guys, and then when I dub over it, it's different, you know what I mean? Okay, that's drying pretty dark, but still brown. And it also might be because they got black underneath. But I don't think so. I don't think the black has anything to do with it. It might. I just don't think so. My Americans, I think I am going to use this dark earth, the paratroopers when they come in, because I was thinking about this. My grenadiers they're all wearing like this dark field gray camouflage looking uniform, and they're very dark gray or dark green gray. You know what I mean? Field gray. And I wanted something to contrast with that. Yikes. See, that's black. So I use the mid earth on that. But my paratroopers are going to be pretty close to that color because D-Day paratroopers were like a green, not a tan, like an ochre or whatever. They're like a khaki green, so I wanted something to contrast with them. So I'm going to use this probably. Okay. Last but not least. All right, well, that's not too bad looking. I mean, it's actually great looking. I'm super happy with it, actually. And then once I flock the hedge, we'll see what it actually looks like, you know. Okay, starting early next week, I'm going to be really working pretty heavily on the table itself, the squares and the roads and the river and all that. But in the meantime, I'm working on all of the accoutrement or whatever, all the stuff that sits on top of it. But next week, I'm really going to jump into that pretty heavy. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, no more of this. So let me go wash my hands and the brush, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna let this dry. Now, I wonder if by putting this terrain on the popsicle stick, I'm curious if it will, well, first of all, I'm curious if it'll warp it by itself. It doesn't look like it's going to. It looks like it's going to stay pretty flat. But if that's the case, when it dries, when I apply Elmer's on that, will that act as a barrier? And if it does, then that'd be great. But if not, that'll be great. Doesn't matter, because I plan to be using this anyway. All right, I don't know if I would just want to have you guys sit around and watch this paint dry. But like some of the first ones I did look like they're almost dry already, because I just put those on super thin. These are not dry. That's going to probably take a minute. I put that on pretty heavy because I wanted the texture and the dirty, the like rocky look. Okay, so we can talk about a couple of things while I am waiting for this to dry. I have a bunch of these trees right here. Picked them up on Amazon. They come with bigger trees and little trees, and these are the little ones, right? And these are only about, I don't know, they're super small. I don't know what their size are. Less than an inch is what I think I said. Yeah, the total length is about an inch. So if I stick that down into the hedge, there's only going to be about 20 millimeters sticking out of the top. I love these. They look really good. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, they look good. I bought these a long time ago, 6 months ago or something like that. I was thinking I was going to make a forest out of these, but then I said, nah, I want to use the deciduous trees or whatever, and not these coniferous. But that's a pretty good looking tree right there. And these are the types of trees like this should be on the top of the bocage that I'm planning on making bespoke. There's this one bocage, and there's different heights. They come in different lengths, you know? So yeah, these guys are nice. Let me see if I can show you a picture of the bocage of the one I'm planning on doing. Yeah, okay. I don't know if you can see that, but you see there's in the background there's a bocage back there, and then you got this thick tree here, and then you got all these tall trees, and they all, you know, grow together over there. I've got another picture. Okay, let me see if I can find it. That's not it. Hold on. Ah, here it is. That's the same bocage, just from a different angle. the hill is right here. It's covered in bushes. The trees grow out of the sides of it, it looks like, not necessarily out of the top of it. So it's weird. I'm going to try to make this as bushy as possible, but yeah. And then look at this bocage right here. It's super low, nothing involved. You know, but then there's that one back there. It's got bushes and trees, but they're not super tall, not like that first one. Right? So, I don't know what that is. And these are all, okay, that's the river that goes under the, that's the Mer Direct River that goes underneath the bridge. But, yeah. So I was thinking of using some of those. They don't look like they're tall enough, but that's okay. I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to go crazy, but I also have these. Those seem to be too big, right? For this bocage. What do you think? I think it seems too big. And then there's these, which are more like hair growing out of it. Yeah, and then there's these guys, which would look pretty cool sticking out of the top of some of these bocage. And I was thinking I would just put them like super close together so that they're like interlocking when I put them on the top. That's what I was thinking I was going to do. And these guys seem to be very tall, and they seemed like they would work really well for that purpose. Yeah. So those are the trees that I'm experimenting with on putting on my bocage. Okay, the bocage is still drying, but these look like they're getting close to being dried. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch out one of these. Hedges. Okay, it's got that little curve at the end. Doesn't look like it matters which way is up. Okay. bottoms. Now I'm using a very thin popsicle stick because less is more. What I mean by that is it has a very small footprint on the table. So wherever you put it, it's not gonna, you won't have this extra base sticking out from the bottom. If that makes sense. It's just enough to give it, purchase on the table to keep it upright and flat and stuff, but not so much that occupies, like if I put it next to a road, I don't want it to be so wide that it's like 15 feet away from the road. Okay. Okay, now this one seems like it's really flocked pretty heavily. I'm trying to give it a little bit of a stretch, but okay, there we go. Okay, luckily it cuts pretty easily. Now I probably could use a pin to pin this down so that it would stop trying to curve, because on both of these ends where the hedge did the curve right here, it wants to go back to that form. I don't want it to. Okay, we're just going to apply a little bit of pressure, get it down to that, get it gripping into that Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue. I like the light green one a lot better. Mainly because, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but the light green one seems to have a lot more flock on it. Yeah, that one. Okay. long is this? 10. If I stretch it, it would be 40. What? 40. No, 50. Okay, so 25 will be good. Am I losing my mind? I am losing my mind. Okay. I'm going to stretch it just a little bit more. Yep. Okay, so I split that one in half specifically because what I'm going to do is we're going to make a gap in one of these hedges. Yep, that's about right. Okay, well that's not big enough of a gap to worry about. I was thinking I was going to make like a walkway. I guess I could cut some more and make a walkway, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave a gap in the hedge. And if I need to put a bush or something in there, I might. Okay, I really want to get working on these. Goes out here in just a second. put them beside each other. Everything's good. Okay. Okay, so I'll do this one off camera. Some future date. It's not right now. Okay. Let all of those dry. Stick this back. Okay. Okay, so to get started, I was wanting to flock each one of these differently. Right, I was wanting to put a different type of flock on each one, maybe even, what? Okay, somebody's honking. Maybe even, I don't like that. There we go. Maybe even mix the flock, right? Okay. This is going to be the primary flock right here, right? Okay. That's called foliage, Wow, my mic was like a million miles away. Okay. Okay, so on this first one, I'm going to use this dark green micro scatter. And then once that's sprinkled on in certain spots, then I'm going to come back in with some really rough looking, very long, oh, this is probably like, I don't know, it's just rough static grass. Okay. And this is all an experiment. Oops. Had to add some water to my Elmer's. Now, I'm not covering 100%, as you can see. It's a large percentage, but it's not 100%. All right. So now I'm just going to pinch I'm just putting it on certain spots. Maybe a little bit more up here. All right. Okay, it's taking me a second to sprinkle the static grass on because I'm trying to do it really light at a time. I'm going to build it up gradually is what I'm trying to do. Okay, so now I'm going to let that static grass sit on there for a minute. I'm going to let it dry before I knock off all the excess. Okay, I'm not sure if I like that thick static grass. Again, like I said, this is an experiment. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to a different type of flock for the next one. I have some, I might try this. Okay. This is Woodland Scenics blended turf, but it's also got a little bit extra stuff in there that I've mixed in with it over time, and it kind of gives it a different look to it. You know, it's not just blended turf, it's got other things in it. I'm still going to do the dark green. Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do this one. I don't know how I want to do this. Hang on. I think you're in the way. All right. Again, not 100% coverage, but a good amount. Going to be quite a bit of the mound showing through. And I'm just randomly doing some splotches of Elmer's and water mix on here just to get, okay, that looks good. And again, we're just going to take a few spots, put some pretty heavy dark green on there. Okay. Now we're going to use this Woodland Scenics foam flock with my personal mixture of extra bits. I used to exclusively use foam flock on everything, but I kind of gotten away from it ever since I found micro scatter. I think I like it the best, but I think the best look is static grass. I don't know, it's a mixture of static and foam and okay. Okay, well that doesn't look too bad, but I was hoping it would be more, I don't know, foliagey. I don't know if that's a word, but when this dries, I might apply some static grass in spots just to give it that extra, a little extra je ne sais quoi. Okay, that's it for you on the foam. I'm still experimenting with different flocks. Okay, we're going to try something. We're going to try something on this. And then we'll get to the last one of those. This is my garden flock. It's got like red in it. You can see that. Yeah, there we go. And I think that would, and it's a scatter. I think it would look good on a hedge. So here we go. This was my, okay, that's not going to work. Not enough. Not enough. Ugly. Okay, we just put some more glue. Put some more water. Stir it up a little bit. It's all off camera, but that's okay. I'm not going to use that on my bocage. Maybe on one or two of them if I get froggy. But this was an experiment as well. What I'm trying to do is actually brush some glue. Okay, I think it's not enough water. It's too thick. Ah, there we go. Okay, so you can see that the glue is pretty much staying towards the top, which is good. That means the roots of the hedge, or the lower part of the hedge, is still going to be this brownish color. That was, or is, the plan. I got to get this whole thing glued before any of it starts to dry. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, that was the plan, was to flock it. Now, I didn't want to use like a spray glue because that gets all over the place, and I have less control over what actually gets flocked. It pretty much hits everything. Okay. Yep, this side. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm just piling it on there. That looks like a pretty good hedge, but it's hard to tell until it dries. So put it in that box right there. I'll let that dry. I'm excited about that. I am excited about that. Okay, so this last hedge is also going to use some of that dark, but I'm going to use 2.5 static grass, which is what I pretty much use on almost all my other terrain. And it's meadow. And meadow is my jam. Okay. So here we go with some. Now this is not the end of the bocage. This is only the mound. We still have to turn it into a foliage nightmare. With bushes and trees and everything else. Okay. Hopefully that works. Okay, that should do it. All right, now this is about 2.5 millimeters. It should sprinkle a lot better than that first one, which I think is 4 millimeters. I could be wrong. I don't remember how big it is, but it's much bigger. That's great for 28 millimeter projects, but maybe not so much on the 15 millimeter projects. Yeah, I think this is way better. Okay, so we're going to let the 3 bocage dry. We'll also let that hedge dry, just so, and then we'll come back and we'll see. We'll shake everything off and we'll take a look at how they look before we start adding the foliage onto it. All right, so See, while we're waiting, I'm trying to decide which trees I want to use. I definitely want to use some of these trees. And I also want to put some like hedgerow type stuff on the top, but I don't know if I want to use this or if I just want to place clump foliage. This would be like putting a hedge on top of a brick, like a stone wall, and I don't really know if that's the look that I want to go for. I don't think it is. Because see, that would be like putting a hedge on top of a bocage, and I don't really think that's the way it should look. Now I also have some, what do you call them, tufts. I could probably put some, nah, I don't want to do that either. I have some 2mm tufts, but I don't think I want to put those up there either. I probably will be putting tufts on my infantry, but not necessarily on my terrain. Yeah, I think clump foliage is the way to go. I'm going to put trees and clump foliage. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so let's give it about 5 minutes and then I will work on it. All right, guys, it is past 1 o'clock. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the stream. But if you want to see how these turn out, come back and watch my tutorial video when I upload it, because I'm going to continue to record